Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. You guys, our team builder here for the first week of the APA, the American Pokemon Association, a brand new draft league where the St. Louis Rampardos are ready to head smash their opponents to victory once again. If you guys didn't see the draft or my draft breakdown, that's all up on my YouTube channel. Well, the draft breakdown is, the stream isn't, but we may try to upload that at some point. I don't know. But either way, the draft breakdown is on my channel, and that's also in the description below. So definitely check that out so you can see my entire team, what I drafted, why I drafted things. We've got a really unique team this year with some cool stuff like Celesteela and Mimikyu, Lycanroc Dusk, Mega Houndoom, which is kind of a cool little mega pick. So it's looking to be pretty fun this season. And our first week's matchup is against the Chelsea Cloyster, Elite Four Dan, or Dan K Memes, Dank Memes. Apparently he's a pretty good battler as well. Last season in the league, it looks like he went about 11-6, which is a pretty darn good record, I would say. So we definitely have our work cut out for us here in the first week of the APA, but this is an opportunity for me to get familiarized with the new team and just have some fun with it. And this league, I am planning to just have a good time. I'm not going to stress too much about it. We've got the NPA coming up pretty soon as well. That'll be going on in about a month or so. So we'll be back to 2 leagues on the weekends. These matches, of course, are going to be uploaded for Saturdays, I believe. So you'll get the team builders hopefully on, I believe it's going to be like, I guess Fridays or whatever it might be. So definitely some cool stuff to note there. Now, let's jump into our team builder here, and if you're not familiar how these team builders work, let me just adjust my little camera screen up here because it's a little off. I just set everything up this morning. If you're not familiar how these team builders work, I usually run through my opponent's 11 Pokemon, talk a little bit about them, what they each do, and then I'll bring up the 6 Pokemon that I'm bringing, why I'm bringing them, and so on and so forth. So looking at Dan's team here, the first thing he's got is that Mega Lopunny, obviously a very big threat with its incredible speed stat. It hits really, really hard, and its scrappy ability makes so it can hit through ghost types. Really, really powerful, and again, super fast. Sylveon, very strong fairy type Pokemon, can be offensive, most often seen defensively, of course, has the ability to pass wishes and heal off status from itself and its teammates. He's got the Latias, of course. Latias is a very hard-hitting dragon type with 110 base speed, so quite a bit of speed already in his team. Obviously, does have that psychic typing, but generally hits really hard. In this case, it's very bulky as well and pairs nicely with his Sylveon. Crocodile, of course, very good rock setter, good intimidate user and moxie user, good dark type, and just a good ground type in general. We've got the Empoleon, which is his water and steel type, is only steel type. That's also another hazard setter and a good remover as well. He's got a couple different hazard removers on his team. He's got the Gengar. Gengar is a huge wall breaking threat because of its speed stat, 110. It also hits really hard from the special side and can do a lot of different things there. With sludge bombs and shadow balls and things like that. Rotom Cut does get access to Defog now, one of its new moves, and it's a pretty, like 86 base speed, relatively fast, hits pretty hard with Leaf Storm, Volt Switch, can be a Specs user, can be a Trick Scarfer, generally Will-O-Wisp and things like that. He's got the Talonflame, which is very scary. Talonflame dropped down from the Fall from Grace, used to be a really, really top-notch Pokemon, but since isn't nearly as good now, but still a pretty big threat that we have to watch out for, especially in this match. He's got the Caragonal, which also can defog and rapid spin, another hazard removing option. He's got the Regirock, of course, stealth rock setter, really bulky Pokemon, and he's got his Staraptor, which hits incredibly hard. Staraptor is one of the hardest hitting Pokemon in the game, normal and flying types. So a couple dual types there, obviously a couple normal types, a couple flying types. Those are always scary, and then of course things like Gengar, Sylveon, really scary stuff. So in terms of what I think he's going to bring, I think we're going to see Lopunny for sure. I think we're going to see Talonflame for sure, given my team. I think Crocodile, Sylveon, Latias, Gengar, and maybe Empoleon. Those 7, I think, make the most sense. I'm not anticipating Caragonal, Staraptor, or Regirock. Rotom Cut could be brought. I think it's an option, especially with Celesteela. But generally, I think Lopunny, Sylveon, Latias, Crook, like I said, Empoleon, Gengar, and Talonflame, Rotom are the biggest threats. Again, I just have a hard time seeing him bringing something like Staraptor when I think Talonflame is better against my team this week. And his Z-move users are Gengar and Talonflame. So some things to note there. He could try to run like an Electrium Z. Gengar, he could try to run like a Firium Z or a Flying Z. Talonflame, so some things to note there. But that's generally the idea. So let's jump into our team, kind of what I'm bringing and why I'm bringing it. I got Celesteela here. Celesteela will be shiny in the rest of the season. I had some issues with getting it set up from a friend, so I just had to have someone send me another one. And this is just a regular old Celesteela, but it will be shiny the rest of the season. Heavy Slam, Air Slash, Protect, Leech Seed, Sassy Nature. So we're basically boosting up our defenses here. Really, really bulky. This thing is designed to take on things like Latias, things like Crocodile, things like even Gengar. It can even take on Talonflame relatively well. Obviously doesn't want to take those you know, those fire type moves, but yes, Raptor doesn't really do much to us either way. You know, we obviously handle this team really well. Heavy Slam just destroys Sylveon even without attack investment. Air Slash is nice for low punny and a lot of other things. Leech Seed is there, and then Protect is actually there to burn his Z move. I am expecting Talonflame Gengar. Those two things, the way they beat me is by Z moving Celesteela, so if I can protect against that Z move and really stop it, that could be really good. And plus Leech Seed plus Leftovers plus Protect is just so nasty and so bulky, and this is really the glue to the team. Again, this is one of my few ways to kind of deal with Crocodile, which I think is important. It's a great response to Latias. Latias is forced to run Thunderbolt to try to stop me. Low punny can only do so much against Celesteela because of how bulky it is. Sylveon really can't do anything unless he runs like Specs HP Fire. In that case, it's really not doing too much. So a couple things to note there. The next Pokemon we are bringing is going to be Cresselia here. Moonduck making an appearance. Psyshock, Ice Beam, Moonlight, Calm Mind, Bold Nature, Max HP, Max Defense. This thing is another thing basically designed to take on Low Punny. Such a huge threat. Designed to take on Talonflame as well. You know, even +2 Talonflame really can't break through Cresselia that well. So that's really nice. We have to be careful of things like Gengar and like Crocodile, obviously, with their stab attacks. But generally, we can take on everything on his team pretty well with this thing. I really like Calm Mind against him as well, especially if he doesn't run Toxic on stuff, or if I get burned by like an Empoleon Scald or Rotom, I can easily Calm Mind up on his team, and if I get 2 Calm Minds up, he really doesn't have anything that can break through Cresselia. To be perfectly honest, like with a couple Calm Minds up, he really can't do anything. Psyshock is there to kind of beat another Calm Minding set, like if he brings Calm Mind Sylveon or something like that, I can Psyshock it. Ice Beam obviously for things like Crook, and also for Latias, so the coverage there is pretty nice, and generally, again, we're just going to try to set up on him with Calm Minds, but this thing is more meant to just take hits. It's not really meant to set up, but if there's an opportunity to set up with Calm Mind, they will take that opportunity and try to win the game from there. But Cresselia is just so bulky, man, and it's just so hard for opponents to take down, so that incredible defensive bulk makes it really, really difficult with his offensive Pokemon, especially like Low Punny and stuff, which is going to struggle with it. It would be in his best interest to try to bring like a kind of like a whatchamacallit, like a tech type Low Punny with like Toxic or something. That'd actually be really cool if he brought that. Not for me, but for him. Next Pokemon is going to be our Mimikyu Peekaboo here, bringing that Mimikium Z for the first time. Mimikyu is one of my Z Crystal users with Celesteela, but this week we're bringing Mimikium Z. I've got that Jolly Nature to make sure we're outspeeding Crocodile, which is nice. Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, Swords Dance, Trick Room. You may be like, why are you running Trick Room? But I'll explain. Otherwise, Mimikium Z is really awesome. He is only switching to our Mimikium Z is really gonna be that Empoleon. That's really the only good switching he has. I mean, you could argue Talonflame, but I really don't think so. Swords Dance there, obviously, with Disguise, we're pretty much guaranteed to get up at least 1 Swords Dance, and then we can put some work in with Shadow Sneak, which is really good against Latias, really good against Gengar. I've also got the Trick Room there as kind of a failsafe. He's got a lot of fast stuff on his team. Talonflame, Low Punny, Latias, Gengar, even relatively Staraptor, so I figured Trick Room is kind of a cool tech option. The power from Shadow Claw would be nice, especially for Empoleon, but you know, I have other things to deal with Empoleon on this team, in my opinion, so I felt like that was pretty fair, and I can relatively set up on Empoleon. I mean, it could have like Flash Cannon, but you know what I mean, I could definitely like switch out. I have lots of switch-ins to it, like Celesteela, Cresselia. They don't care about Empoleon generally, unless he's like running Roar or something, so I felt like Mimikyu was pretty solid in this match. Again, just having that Disguise is super clutch, being able to take hits, and like against like something like Low Punny, which can try to break or Disguise or whatever, I could always Trick Room against it. You know, he might think, okay, I'll break his Disguise, he'll hit me with a Play Rough or Swords Dance, whatever it is, and I just get Trick Room up, so I kind of guarantee that. Kind of cool tech there. I felt like it was relatively useful for the team. Again, Shadow Claw could be good, but I really like the tech of Trick Room. Next Pokemon is going to be our Houndoom, Mega Houndoom series. We got Hasty, Flashfire, Houndoominite. I love this. Flashfire makes him think twice about his Talonflame going for a fire type move, because if he gives us that Flashfire boost, he's not going to be happy. We've got Sludge Bomb, Dark Pulse, Pursuit, and Fire Blast. We are going to be Mega Evolving, so, and I am bringing Sun, you'll see here shortly. Dark Pulse really wrecks a lot of his team. Fire Blast destroys things like Crocodile, stuff like that, and then Pursuit is really awesome because Pursuit helps me trap Gengar and Latias, which I'm both faster than, and we are kind of an hasty nature, so we're lowering our defense to increase our speed. We've got a decent attack stat there as well, so Pursuit looks really good against Gengar, looks really good against Latias as well. Obviously, we're outsped by Talonflame and by Lopunny, but we do a lot of work to the rest of his team, which I really, really appreciate. And again, Dark Pulse is there. Sludge Bomb is there, of course, for the Sylveon to hit that thing super effectively. But Fire Blast and Sun is just so strong. The next Pokemon is going to be our Como-O here. Como Bro, bring that Jolly Bulletproof Lumberry. This was a really cool match for Como-O, and this is where its abilities really shine. It has Bulletproof, and it has... what is the other one? Soundproof. So being able to run Soundproof, basically, if Dan thinks about it, he has to kind of run Moonblast. I don't know if he can run Hyper Voice, because he has to be really careful, because if I ran Soundproof, then I can totally stop his Sylveon in its tracks. I decided to run Bulletproof because Bulletproof stops Sludge Bomb and Shadow Ball from Gengar. So Gengar, a huge threat to my team. I can stop 2 of its main moves against Como Bro. So I had to make a choice. Do I try to stop the Sylveon or do I try to stop the Gengar? I decided to try to stop the Gengar, because I feel like Gengar is more likely to be a choice user, and I think he would potentially bring Moonblast on his Sylveon. And I think if he brings Gengar and it's not choice, he's gonna have Dazzling Gleam anyway. So that was kind of my thought process there. But Dragon Dance, really big this week. Close Combat, Dragon Claw, Poison Jab. If I can get a Dragon Dance up, I don't see why we can't win this game if Talonflame is not at full health. I think that's very feasible for us to win the game if I can get Talonflame just a little bit weakened. So that might be a reason to potentially consider putting Rocky Helmet on Cresselia. I've been kind of debating, I've been back and forth about it, just to make sure I get the damage off on Talonflame, because if I can't get rocks up, then Talonflame could be at full. So I may go back and revisit that, go with the Rocky Helmet on Cresselia, but we'll discuss that right before the match. In fact, I'm actually really leaning towards that. I think that little bit of extra damage there could be super useful. Just debating. We'll have to think about that. But either way, man, if I can get that Dragon Dance up, Close Combat really wrecks his team. Poison Jab destroys Sylveon, of course. Dragon Claw for Latias, and Close Combat for Crook. For Empoleon, of course. Dragon Claw for Gengar. You can kind of see down the list. Close Combat destroys Rotom. Dragon Claw for Talonflame, and so on. We could pretty much break through his entire team with Como Bro if I get up a Dragon Dance. He doesn't have any Scarfers, so pretty straightforward there. Lumberry is actually really nice. It allows me to set up on Rotom. Allows me to set up on Empoleon, not worrying about Scald Burns. I just felt like that was a really cool option there. Even like Will-O-Wisping Talonflame, which I don't really anticipate, but mostly for Empoleon and for Rotom, because I feel like there's a good chance he brings one of the two, and if I could use that to my advantage to set up and stop him and then potentially get a sweep, then it's super worth it. And then last but not least is our Torkoal here. Franklin the Turtle, of course. Rabbitspin, Stealth Rock, Lava Plume, Stone Edge. He's got a very weird matchup this week. He's got a tough matchup because it's really difficult for me to set up Stealth Rocks if he runs Taunt. If he runs Taunt Crook or Taunt Talonflame, I have a hard time getting in my Stealth Rocks, which I really, really want to get up. But the main importance of Franklin is to set up the Sun for 8 turns for Houndoom. If Houndoom has Sun up and I'm able to get it in against something that I pretty much one-shot like his entire team with Houndoom. He doesn't really have a switch into it, so I really feel like, aside from Scarf users, I really feel like that if I can get the Sun up and get Stealth Rock set up, we're going to be in really good shape. Obviously, I have to be a little worried about him setting up his own Stealth Rocks. Mildly annoying there, but generally speaking, this thing's really good. Stone Edge is there for Talonflame. If it's lead Talonflame versus lead Torkoal, he may try to taunt and stop me from setting up my rocks, which allows me to Stone Edge him and one-shot him. So I thought that was kind of cool, but it's kind of tricky. It depends on what he brings. Like, if he doesn't bring Crook, then Franklin's my lead. If he brings Crook, then I have to be careful, because I don't want to be taking Earthquakes right off the bat just to try to get rocks up and get taunted and whatever else and get like predicted. So that's a little tricky, but generally if I can get my rocks up, that's really useful. And I think I am actually going to go back and make that change and put Rocky Helmet on Cresselia. I just think looking at Como-O, that little bit of chip damage on Talonflame is really important to ensure that he can't have the priority Brave Bird against me if I set up +1. So that'll be a change I'll make before the match, but that's the team builder there. I didn't bring Araquanid. He's got a lot of hazard removers. Didn't really fit against the team. Nidoking was good, but he's got a lot of stuff that's faster than Nidoking. That makes it a little difficult to use. So I didn't really like where Nidoking sat, but he's definitely going to be scared of Nidoking. I didn't bring Celebi because I felt like Gengar, Talonflame, Staraptor, they all kind of wreck it, and it doesn't really do much offensively to his team. Lycanroc Dusk was okay this match, and hopefully will dissuade Talonflame. I'm really worried about Talonflame, if you can't tell. It's just really scary in this situation, but I really didn't see Lycanroc Dusk putting in too much work. And then Lantern really didn't fit the team this week. So that's our squad. Match is going up tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this video, our team builders. I'll catch you guys next time. My name is Dan. I'm the coach of your St. Louis Rampardos. See you next time. Peace. Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one. And be sure to subscribe for more as I post Pokemon videos every single day.